Hello everybody, this is Nikon, and a few days ago I got an opportunity to shoot with the Sony A7s for a couple of days. So if you have seen my channel banner, you would know that I'm a Nikon user. In fact, I own the D5200, and having an opportunity to shoot with Sony A7s, I got to know the system and share a few things that I like about the Sony A7s and I don't like compared to a Nikon body. So here I got some notes. What I really like, first of all, I must admit, is the electronic viewfinder. I thought that it wasn't a big deal at the time, but it really is. Even though it's a smaller screen resolution than the back screen, the back monitor, and a lot of details are crumbled in, so you can't see much better. But in daylight shooting, you can always guess the exposure very correct. 4K, glorious 4K video. It's sharp. It's unbelievable. S-Log. So what I have been told is that the lowest ISO you can go on S-Log is 3200, which is a lot for daylight shooting. You need ND filters if you use big apertures, but it has so much dynamic range. The guy, thanks to the guy that lent me the Sony A7s, he showed me some sketches that he made for like a movie, and it has so much dynamic range that I was like blown out. Like, you with your own eye you can't see that kind of dynamic range in once. It is just unbelievable. Low light performer, a great low light performer. You would know that the A7s is just mind-blowing in low light, and it's mirrorless, so you can put any lens. I use, most of the time I use manual lenses, so that's a great thing to have a mirrorless body. You can put any old lens with just cheap adapters. But you know these things, right? But what I don't like is something that is not mentioned anywhere else. It is the ergonomics. It is a small body, unlike the Nikon. The Nikon has always big bodies, big lenses. This is a small body, and I'm comparing this to my Nikon D5200, which has one dial for the shutter, aperture, and ISO. This is great. My thumb is always resting in the position between the dial and the AE lock, the autofocusing lock. So this is great. I don't need to move the thumb. Even the dial, if you go through the pictures, you can go through the pictures with the dial too. So, but the Sony A7s it has a shutter dial which is far from the thumb's position. It has an aperture dial on the front, and it has ISO, dedicated ISO dial on the back. With the thumb needs to constantly move to zoom in the picture, to things like that. What else? Now the recording button. The recording button is in so bad place. When you click it, it makes the camera so unstable. So every time I push for recording, the first few seconds need to be removed. Unlike the Nikon, which sometimes I don't need to remove the first few seconds, because it's stable. It's stable the same way it is stable the whole video. All of the buttons on the Sony A7s are bad. What I mean by that is, that when you click the button, you don't know that you have clicked the button. you have no idea. I have been told that the white balance and the picture control settings are from the are adjusted from the menu, and that's no problem with me, really. White balance is just once or twice shooting in one condition. So at last, I want to tell you about the focus peaking feature. It is enormously useful. Going and using the manual lenses, it's so great. I really wish that the Nikon at least had the focusing peaking feature in the live view, so you would know where you're focused, because many of the times you can miss focus even in live view if you don't zoom on f1.8 or 1.4, and that's really it. So would I buy the A7s II if I had the money? Yes, of course. I won't hesitate a minute to buy the A7s II. It has just all of the feature that any videographer will want. And going from Nikon to A7s II or A7s, whatever, it is so easy. I got it. It was so easy for me to switch for a couple of days shooting with the A7s, and really I didn't have any problem except the ergonomics. I didn't like the ergonomics, but if you shoot, you're gonna get used to it and you're gonna be comfortable, unlike the Canon 6D, which when I got to shoot with it, it was horrible. It was horribly bad operating system, horribly bad buttons. There's no AE locks. Not now. You got the AE locks. Like, what are you doing, Canon? Like, I'm a Nikon user, and it's hard to me. I think at least it's hard to me to switch to Canon, but to Sony, go like in seconds. And you must remember that every camera has positives and negatives, and positive sides and negative sides. That's what pushes the industry forward in some way. But the Sony's has just so much positive that you don't see the negative sides if when you're shooting. So yeah, that's it. I just want to make it real quick here, just summarizing, and thanks for watching.